evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to my March version of the Psychic Hour for 2024. Folks, I'm delighted tonight, especially in view of the fact that it is a holiday. I want to wish everyone a happy Palm Sunday. Next week is Easter. Oh my God, time is flying. And we just had the spring equinox, so we've turned that wheel once again into the spring of the year, and many of us, at least here in the United States, have also turned our clocks ahead. I'm still catching up on my sleep with that one. Folks, I want to wish you all a happy spring, a happy Easter, and great joy in being here with me this evening. It's always a delight to see you. As you know, those of you, and I recognize a lot of names here in the chat room, those of you who've been with me for a long time, I've been doing these psychic hours now, many, many years. I've got to sit down and figure it out one day, but it's many years. They're always free. They meet monthly. This is my gift to you, to be here with you monthly in this way. And your gift back to me is to show up, to be here, and to participate in all the fun that we have during this hour. So I'm really grateful for you to be here. I just want you all to know that. So this evening, before we actually jump into our session, I want to remind you that everyone who attends the Psychic Hour and stays until the end is going to get the opportunity to get a question answered by me directly. Some of you, if Lisa calls on you tonight, Lisa's my assistant in the chat room, some of you are going to be getting a question answered verbally right here online. We're not going to see you, but we're certainly going to hear you. And I'll tell you about that in a moment. But not everybody will. So those of you who don't get a reading here live online, do the following. First of all, listen in closely, because my guides, as you all know, have a way of answering many questions at the same time. So although it might be somebody else's question I'm answering, you may very well hear the answer to your question in the middle of their question. My guides have a way of doing that. Also, if your question isn't answered tonight, anytime before 9 p.m. tomorrow evening, you're going to be welcome to ask me a simple question, and I will answer it via email. And you can utilize either the email that goes to my assistant, that's Lisa, sa.inc@aol.com, or the email that's attached to this website right here that you went to sign up for this session. So you can ask me that one simple question. Now, whether you're asking me the question here online live tonight, or whether you're sending it by tomorrow, not by Easter, by tomorrow at 9, here are the things I need to know about you. I want your first name, and that's all, especially if you're on here live, just your first name, because this will be broadcast publicly after our session. So your first name, I want to know where you're living, where you're calling in from. I also want to know what you're most grateful for in your life right now. That's always so important to remember those special things. And I want to know your sun sign. If you don't know your sun sign, your birthday, and your simple question. And when I say simple question, I mean a direct question, not necessarily a yes or no, but something that I can answer directly. You see, what happens with a lot of people who aren't used to asking questions of guides is that it's kind of like a computer, they say garbage in, garbage out. Well, when you're asking psychic-based questions, it's the same. If you ask a question that's very direct, you get a perfect answer and it's clear and you know what it means. But if you ask an indirect question, or a question that's actually 3 or 4 questions within one question, instead of answering what you want to get an answer to, my guides will just select one question, or they'll answer what they think you're asking. So take a moment to think about the question that you're asking and make it direct. A question like, what can I expect that's coming up? That's far too vague. You probably have 1,000 things coming up. My guides will just answer one of them. It might not be the thing that you want to have asked. Okay, so be direct, and you're going to get the answers that you need from that question that you ask. And that's true if you're asking your question calling in, or if you're asking your question afterwards. And remember, those questions will have to reach me before 9 p.m. tomorrow evening on the eclipse. The lunar eclipse is tomorrow night, and I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. If you want that question to get answered, 9 p.m. tomorrow evening. Okay, I did mention the eclipses, and I want to emphasize we get eclipses several times a year, so they're not unusual. So several times a year, usually at least twice a year. Every once in a while, there are 3 eclipses a year, and I'm talking about solar eclipses. Now, solar eclipses can have 1 or more lunar eclipses with them. So we might have only 2 solar eclipses in a year, but we could have 5 lunar eclipses. At any rate, that gets into astrology, and yes, it's fun. I love astrology. It's really a fun tool to learn. It's really a lot of fun, and not as hard as you think it is, by the way. Meanwhile, we have 2 eclipses coming up very shortly. In April, the first eclipse is a lunar eclipse, and that's going to be occurring tomorrow. Actually, that's not April, is it? That's March, pardon me. That eclipse is tomorrow. It's at 5 degrees of Libra. And if you started a journal on March 11th, and you kept it through April 22nd, almost all the way through April, where it will encompass both eclipses, the lunar and the solar. By the way, the solar eclipse is in April, and it's on April 8th. So if you have a journal that covers the time period from March 11th through April 22nd, that journal is going to give you coming attractions into your next 6 months. So folks, you don't have to be a psychic to do that. You can just keep a diary and include in that diary all the important things that are coming up in your life, or that occur to you or close friends or family members whose lives might affect yours. Dreams that you think about, ideas that you talk about, things that happen to the world and the work around you that could affect you. Write all those kinds of things down between March 11th and April 22nd, and you'll be giving yourself a glimpse of things to come that are going to be occurring within the next 6 months. And a lot of times you'll find yourself making some important choices during that next 6 months that actually direct where the rest of your life will go. So yes, eclipses, I believe, are very important. I've been working with them for years, and I find them very, very helpful as I predict my things for my clients that are coming up in their lives. So give it a try and see if that is helpful to you. Now, just a quick little rundown on what I've got coming up. First of all, this Psychic Hour, of course, is on March 24th. But please make a note, because the next Psychic Hour will be April 28th, just about a month from now. Sign up for it, because these Psychic Hours do fill up. And once we get to a certain number of people, you're not going to be able to get into the room. So sign up early and then get to the Psychic Hour early, and you'll be sure to get on. Now, and remember, you have to be here until the end to ask your simple question. And incidentally, those questions, give me a week or 2 before you expect an answer. I'm usually faster than that, but you never know. Things that could come up in my world can delay my answering that. So give me a couple of weeks, but I do get all of those questions answered for you. Here's what I've got coming up relative to specials for you. In March, my Finding Your Right Path special is on all month long. Which is only a few more days. We have until the 31st, and that's $300. Now, if you want to buy my Psychic Protection Tips self-study course all through March, that's right up through March 31st, it's 50% off. Now, this is not an expensive course to begin with, so at 50% off, it's very, very affordable, and it will drip you out a protection tip, 1 tip a month, to be contained in your own online library that's yours forever, that you can go to and recall and revisit. It tells you how to do these things that will help to give you psychic protection. Folks, I happen to think that at this time in our world, everybody can use that course, which is the reason why I ran that special in March. Now, my third special for March, these are going to be finished in just a week, is my Beginner's Tarot. This is a world-renowned program. It does come with my PDF, also world-renowned book. This is the same book that if you folks watched The View many years ago, I was, I guess, lucky enough, I felt very special to be able to read Whoopi Goldberg on The View. And during that episode of The View, I gave out free copies of this book. So there are a lot of free copies of this that are signed by me that are floating around out there. Meanwhile, that book is in a PDF form and it comes right with this program. Of course, if you only want the book, you can go to Amazon.com and buy it. It's called the Tarot Reader's Workbook. Meanwhile, this month in March, so you've got another week, that course is 30% off. It's regularly $297. So with 30% off, do the math, that's only a little bit over $200. And it is an MP4 video program. It's contained in your own online library that you have permanent access to. It's an absolutely fabulous tool. I have trained hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of professional psychics out there, and lots and lots and lots of people who aren't professional, who just love to read the cards. So I know the program works, I know it's effective. I've been teaching it since 1979, it's been a while. Meanwhile, this video program becomes yours forever. And I do want to add that this is your best option. You're going to see that in April, I'm continuing that, but I'm giving a different benefit to it, and it's a good one. It's excellent, but it's not as good as this. So you guys, you're getting that first warning that this really super extra special on tarot reading does go away in just a little bit over 8 days. Now in April, the whole month of April, here are my specials. First of all, I'm going to continue that Right Path special, same price, it doesn't go up or down. Here's the thing, I think it's important right now for everybody, if you need help with how you're moving through your world and how you're making those bills, how you're making your ends meet, how you're handling finances, if you're dealing with a whole lot of fears, are they grounded, are they real, are they ungrounded, about money, about stuff, about family members and their physical assets, financial assets. You know, Mr. Trump is not the only one who's in some financial difficulty these days. A lot of Americans are, certainly other people throughout the world are as well. Well, that's an area of expertise that my guides excel in. We look at the future. My guides are phenomenal coaches, counselors, and they are astrologers. So my guides can look at your personal astrology chart, and from that, they can give you personalized advice as to what your best routes, your best paths to take going forward are, so that you will eventually become better off than you ever were before. So if you feel like you're in a downward spiral, let's turn that around and make it go up instead. Now that reading is my normal reading price, it's $300, but you won't find that reading listed on my normal readings page. This is an extra special reading I've put in for March and April, and it's available both months for the same price. It goes away at the end of April, April 30th. Now, my second special for April, again, my Beginner's Tarot is still on sale all through the month, April 1st through 30th. But this time you're going to get $50 off, which brings the cost down to $247. Not quite as good as what it would be if you order it in March, but it's still a very, very good discount. Now, those of you who already have that program, you know, some of you might buy it in March and then want to come back and buy the advanced version in April. And if you do that, if you already have the beginner program, the advanced program's $50 off. Again, that's only through April. Folks, it's well worthwhile. If you have ever thought of learning to read the tarot, this is a great time to do it. And if you're looking for a way in our crazy world right now to learn a psychic tool that will both develop your ability, make you money, and help other people all at the same time. Learn tarot. And if you don't learn it from my program, folks, if you think you have that gift or you have that interest, then go and buy a book and teach yourself, or find a program near you or elsewhere online. Learn to read the tarot. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. And right now, it can be especially helpful in so many ways. Okay, just to review, you all know where my website is. You went there to register for this course. Don't forget to download the app. We're all having some interesting issues going on with the internet. Make sure you have the app, because if you have the app, that app will always work. You'll always be able to get on to these psychic hours and everything else in my site through that app, even if your internet's not loading properly. Post your thoughts in our open forum. That's open to anybody who's signed up for my newsletter. Folks, when you sign up for the newsletter, you're automatically enrolled in the open forum, and you'll see when you now open my website with your sign up name, you have a little tab on top that says library, and if you click on that library, you'll see listed in it open forum. So guess what? You are already, if you registered for my newsletter, you are already a member of the open forum, and that gives you a chance to communicate and talk to other people of like mind, share your experiences, talk about the psychic hours, talk about what's going on in the world, and communicate with people who are a lot like yourself. Now, my What's Happening in 2024 webinar, still available to buy, only $25 on my website. I still have this up here because I encounter a lot of people, especially in these days, who are very disturbed about what's going on in our world. Believe it or not, this webinar, What's Happening in 2024, can help to set your mind at rest. It can give you some peace. So if you're one of those people, it's not expensive. For $25, you can have this 2.5-hour long webinar that really helps you to understand the processes, both actually physically in a material sense and also in a spiritual sense, what's really going on in our world right now. VIPs, our next coaching call, just a reminder, April 25th, coming up real soon. And actually, that's not so soon. Almost a month away. Well, it's getting closer, and that's of course at 7 p.m. And I'm going to jump into working with our questions and working with you right now. So folks, listen up. Lisa, who's our first person on the roster this evening?
All right, the first person I'm going to call on tonight is Melinda. Melinda, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Melinda. Melinda, your voice sounds so familiar. Have I read you on the Psychic Hour before?
I don't remember. I'm sure that I've asked questions. I'm in your monthly, I was trying to undo my camera, coaching calls too.
Okay,
So I think I asked questions.
You're a VIP member. Okay, because I'm hearing your voice, I'm saying, I know you. And my guide's saying, yeah, we do too. So
Yes.
welcome. Good to speak with you.
Thank you. It's so good to see you. Thank you. Yes, you helped me with my scrying bowl that I was doing, and just 1,000 ways. I've been a member for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I am Melinda, and I'm in Ohio. I'm a Virgo, and I'm grateful for the beautiful friends that I have in my life. I'm just so thankful.
Okay, let's
And
hold it now before you ask your
yeah,
question. Okay.
okay.
Melinda
Yeah.
from Ohio, who's a Virgo. Let's look at where Virgo falls in the chart. And you know, my guides are saying you're studying astrology. Good for you. So Melinda knows this, folks, but for most of you, this is new. Here's the sign Virgo. My original astrology teacher said that's the M with its legs crossed. That's how you can remember the sign Virgo. See, now nobody will ever forget that. Well, the tail end of Virgo, because there are only 30 degrees in a sign, is up here in the 12th house, which has you looking into what makes you, what motivates you, into your own inner self. But the bulk of the sign Virgo is actually in this 11th house. And the 11th house is all about my friends. It's about how I give of myself to other people, how I reach out and I share myself. And it's about the friends and the groups that we belong to. And so, you've got a lot going on right now. If you have children, by the way, it's your third child. So you've got a lot, if you're a Virgo, you've got a lot going on relative to those things. But Virgo, of course, it's a mutable sign. That means it's very changeable. It helps the world to change. It helps itself to change. So let's look at the other mutable signs because they're all affected by what's going on right now in our world. So the other mutable signs are Gemini, which is up here mostly in the 8th house, a little in the 9th, and Sagittarius, mostly in the 2nd with a little in the 3rd, and Pisces, again, mostly in the 5th and a little bit in the 6th. Now, this is very important because look at all these planets in Pisces. So even though there are no planets this evening showing up in Virgo, I can look across the chart. And Melinda, oppositions always bring in issues with relationships, okay? And this house over here is the house of romance. It's also the house of your children, all of your children, but particularly your first child. It's the house where you take chances. It's the house where you play games and you love physical activities and sports and all those kinds of things. And look at everything going on here. She's got Mars and Saturn and Venus and Neptune. I'm going to pull that Neptune, even though it's in the 6th, it's still being pulled in here because of that grouping of planets. So guess what? You're feeling a little bit of trepidation about some things that you're taking chances on right now. You're thinking, well, I could do this, but then I might do this. But if I do this, what happens? So there's a little bit of confusion happening here. And remember, one of these signs, well, two of them, both Gemini and Sag, are activating the money houses. This is your money. This is other people's money. Your money is the 2nd house. Other people's money is the 8th house. And so, yeah, there's a lot of trepidation, not necessarily if you're a Virgo, not necessarily for yourself, although that could be, but mostly for your children, for the people in your world, in your life. There's a little bit of concern and fear. I don't really know what's going on. This Neptune is actually in the 6th house, which deals with health matters. So we could throw them into this bundle. We could throw the everyday life, which is the 6th house too, into that bundle. What's happening with my job, what's happening at home. I'm a little concerned with things that are going on right now. Where do I stand? How am I doing, Melinda?
Perfect as usual.
Okay. And that,
Absolutely.
remember what I just said about Virgo, folks, that's Virgo, that's Gemini, that's Sagittarius, that's Pisces. You're all dealing with all those things, but from, one set of issues, but from 4 different directions, okay? And of course, the different directions has to do with the personality that you have as to how you go about dealing with them and working with those issues. So Melinda, what's your specific question?
Well, I don't really know how to word it exactly, but I'm just wondering, should I be considering moving away from my family, which could displace my niece who currently lives with me? And I feel like that, I don't know if I'm helping her or if I'm standing in the gap that somebody else should be in. There's some
Okay, then this
toxicity and
is, you're absolutely right, Melinda. And this is a soul search. This is the part of this. Remember I said a little part of you is really doing a lot of soul searching right now. This is the soul searching part. And folks, we all have these kind of dilemmas right now. The fact is, Melinda, that you know that you want to move, you need to move. Your window of when you have the opportunity to move and do it in a smooth way is quickly closing. Now that has to do with you and your world and what you want for yourself and your future being the rosiest future that you can make for yourself. Now, the problem that you're facing is that some time ago, apparently, you stepped in and you decided to help your niece and the family out. So she moved in with you. And now, although she's she's not your daughter, and she is attached to the rest of the family, so she can't move with you, or maybe doesn't want to. The thing is that by allowing her to continue to live with you, you are giving your power not to her, but to the family. So the same family that controlled her and her circumstances is, and maybe it's the reason why she's living with you, is now controlling you and your circumstances. That's really the situation. And this is a Libra problem, by the way, even though you're a Virgo. Libra is the sign that gets stuck in the middle, caught between. And you are caught between. I love this girl. I don't want to let her down. But if I build my life around her, I'm letting myself down. Now, have I stated your predicament clearly?
You have. It's everybody is living their best, most wonderful life and not really sacrificing. And I am. And I feel like I'm, like you said, I am a healer and a medium, and there are things that I want to pursue, and I just feel like I'm kind of being hindered in
Oh, there's
my
no doubt. You're not
purpose.
just you're not just being hindered. I mean, and by the way, kudos to you for being plugged in enough to really have the objectivity to on your own recognize exactly what the issue is. And frankly, the issue comes down to a psychic, a Sandy Anastasi, any other psychic in the world can't make this choice for you. You have to.
Hmm.
The choice really is between I've spent my entire life sacrificing for other people because honestly, frankly, it makes you feel good to give and to know you've made a difference. It's why you're a healer. So it's not odd that you should make that sacrifice for your niece, for your family. And it did make you feel good for a long time. But now your own guides are beating on you and saying, there are other people in the world who need you, who need your help. There are things that you need to be doing and developing, and you're going to sacrifice them. They're going to all those opportunities are going to go away, and what you will have will be that you have created this wonderful situation for all these people who are close to you. You have a choice. Nobody can make that choice except you, and I'm truly, truly sorry to throw it back on you. But I hope at least my guides have given it a little more clarity so that you can recognize that what the choice really is. The choice is between yourself and those you love. And what are you going to put first? That's really what it is.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I respect that. And it's right where it should be. It's where it's been. I'm just spending some quiet time praying about it. So,
I can tell
yeah.
you, and this happens to me all the times with my clients, folks. And I don't know how many of you on here are actually psychic readers, as I am and Melinda is. The thing is that it comes to be a point of difficulty when you're coaching a client. If Melinda were to say to me, if I moved, what would happen to my niece? We could look at that because you can project a potential future. That might help Melinda to make a better choice. Now that's, Melinda, what you and I could do in a coaching session or a reading together. The thing
Hmm.
is, to simply make the choice isn't yours as a reader to make. And Melinda, I'm so happy that you've come out with this choice because all of us are being faced with these kinds of choices in our world right now. And it makes it very difficult for people to make those decisions when it requires putting themselves forward and then just not that kind of person. But if you do have the ability to project forward along timelines, if I make this choice, what will happen? If I make this choice, what will happen? If I make this choice, what will happen? And it does make making the decisions easier.
Okay.
Yeah. And you might be
I'm
able
gonna
to
write that.
do that yourself. Since you're a VIP member, pull out your
Hmm.
tarot cards. See if you can't help yourself to answer that question. Oh,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much
much.
for asking. And I have a feeling that was a question that was pertinent to a whole lot of people who were on the call tonight. So thanks for letting us open with that question to you and your guides. And I'll see you very soon in the, well, not quite very soon, a month from now in the VIP coaching call, which is going to be 3 days before the next psychic hour. So you're going to see me like that, bam, bam. Okay.
I can't wait. I look forward to it. And I'm definitely sending love to everybody because it's a struggle, right? Like yeah. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Lisa, who's next?
Okay, the second victim I'm picking on tonight, I love doing that, is going to be Yvonne. Yvonne, can you unmute?
Hi. Good evening.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, always good.
Good. My first name is Yvonne. I live in Virginia. I am a Gemini. So we talked a bit about the mutual.
Yeah.
What I am grateful for is the love of my family. They've been very supportive lately. My question has to do with I'm looking to have I'm having a meeting coming up this week that's going to be looking to possibly start a new project, new path, and really was kind of I have pulled some tarot cards. I've gotten the Tower card. I've gotten like the Four of Swords. And that may just be my own anxieties about it. But it's really about what if you see any kind of like financial implications.
Well, first thing I want to say, I want to show you what cards I turned up. Before you even opened your mouth, I usually pull cards as somebody comes online. Before you even open your mouth, I pulled the Queen of Pentacles, which is you looking at the financial implications of the meeting you're going to have. The next card I pulled was the Wheel of Fortune, which says that things are moving forward, but at a very slow rate. And this is interesting. No matter what is decided at that meeting, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Because another card I pulled, now that wasn't before you came online, but as you were talking just now, was this card, which is the Seven of Pentacles. And that card means that the die is already cast. What's gonna happen is already determined by previous actions. And that could be within the context of the people at this meeting, or it could be within the world in general. Things are happening, you see. And what's interesting is that no matter what happens at this meeting, and I do think it's going to be a little bit traumatic for you, don't worry about it because it doesn't matter. Remember that. It doesn't matter. Put that in your mind.
Okay.
Because before you even came online, I turned up the Lovers inverted. And what that says is that never mind all of this stuff, you've got some really big decisions to come up concerning other things that are going to take precedence and are going to be of much greater value to you than whatever is being discussed at this meeting. Now, if you want to get down really picky, I picked up an inverted High Priestess, and she's that nasty little somebody that talks out of both sides of her mouth and is basically lining up the things against what you want, okay? And unfortunately, you're a sweet, wonderful person who is somebody who's trustworthy, and so you don't have an easy time recognizing people who aren't. And so just don't be surprised, don't be upset, don't be worried. Just know that whatever is going to happen is already in progress and has nothing at all to do with this meeting. So they can have all the meetings they want and it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay? I know that sounds like I'm giving you double talk, but that first card, the upright Queen of Pentacles, is you. Notice, upright Pentacles looking to the future.
Okay. So that's giving me the feeling that financially it will be okay.
Yes, you are going to do okay. Don't worry about the rest of them.
Okay.
Okay? Oh, I hate to be like that, but I was born, I'm a Gemini too, and I was born with Saturn in Libra. And Libra is the sign of relationship and partnership and all these one-on-one groupie meetings, et cetera, And I've got to tell you that to this day, the biggest thing I have trouble with in my life is not having control over what other people do. Isn't it just the pits?
I'm a Virgo rising with my Gemini, so
You get it, you get it. I mean, there I can see so clearly, I know if you do this, this will happen. And I'll
yes,
tell them. And I'm not talking about people I'm reading, I'm talking about people in my own
yes,
family. Well, if you do
yes,
this is gonna happen. And they
yes.
say, ah,
That was my career.
yeah. And they do it, they get a punch on the chin and they scream and they yell like little kids. And you're like, well, you know, what do you have a psychic in the family for, you know? So uh, there's an old saying that a prophet is never a prophet in their hometown. And I can tell you it's true, okay? And right now I feel very much that your meeting is very much the same, where, you know, some of the stuff they're going to say, yeah, that works. Others, no, they're going to pick it apart. They're going to turn it around. They're going to try to make it everything that's going to give themselves benefit.
Well,
And you're
funny,
so frustrated.
funny the words you're choosing, because it's actually, we are looking to possibly build a new house, and it will be going over drafting the plans for the floor plan. So as you said, moving and changing things, that's really
Yeah.
what that's looking to do.
And meanwhile, what's interesting is from what you're just saying, so here you're going to sit down, you're going to have this big meeting of the minds, and there's going to be all these things you want to change. And guess what? Probably what I'm seeing, that there's a much bigger picture here that's already in motion. Part of that has to do with the finances available. Part of that has to do with the rules that are governing the whole building process. Part of it has to do with the timeline of when this thing can be built. So bottom line is that it's really, a lot of it's just not going to be in your hands at all.
Okay,
And you are going to be frustrated, and it doesn't matter. It's all going to work out.
okay. But yeah, and I guess that was the financial piece, was really more if I was, I guess when I pulled the tower card, it was kind of like, what, you know, if I kind of initially kind of just in my head, and I think again, it's the four swords, my anxiety going, oh my gosh, am I making a, you know, did I make a right decision, and kind of having that second guess.
Well, and as talking, oh God, if there are any people who are in real estate and selling houses that are new builds, you're going to hate me for this. But I have built several houses, new builds. And I can tell you that you can usually add about 25% onto the price before you're
Right.
done.
Yeah.
And it's, as long as you know that going in, you should be okay. But the cover price is never the final price. So honestly, a new build is much, much more expensive than an existing home. Folks, listen up, because for a couple of reasons. One, you don't have all those hidden things that are going to come out over time that get added on. And they'll tell you, oh, this is, you know, this is all covered. It's never, we guarantee not a penny extra. And then there's extra for this cost and that cost, and oh, you want to move that outlet, and you know, it goes crazy. And after a while, you just can't do it because it gets astronomical. And the other way that a new build is more expensive than buying an existing home is that an existing home, even if it's only a year old, guess what? When people move into a new home, they do things. They put up a shelf here. They physically do things to make things more comfortable in the flow of the house. They put latches on the front gate. They put an extra little, all these little things
Right.
cost a lot of money. And so when you move into an existing build, even if it's a new house that's just a year or two old, all those things are done for you. So guess what? You saved a little money because you don't have to do them. At any rate, so I want to tell you, congratulations on your new home. It's going to be beautiful and it's going to be wonderful. And look at when I say, what's the end result of your new home? And I get the chariot right side up. It's attainment, it's mastery, it's yes, I did it, we're done, wow, how wonderful. And it's possible, I don't know if you're going to start this right away, but I'm wondering if it might be done by July, because the 7th is July.
Okay.
That would be really fast. So
I would think July of next year.
okay, that might be,
That would make more sense to me.
or even 7 months from now. You know,
okay.
again, one other hint, if you can get this into the contract, if the contract's not done yet, you know, when you're building a house, it's like any other contract. It's at the moment that you're signing up that you have the opportunity to ask them for extra things. The thing that is most important that you should ask for is a deadline date. And here's how you do it. The house needs to be built by such and such a date. And if it's not finished by that date, you will be charged X amount in rent, or I don't know what they call it. There's a
Okay.
special name for it, per day, if it's not done by then. And that's a way of ensuring that the builder moves their rear end. If there's anybody online who's a builder, they just decided they hate me, but that really works. Thanks so much for that question. Once again, I suspect
you.
that it's helped a lot of people. And I
Thank
know
you.
this house is going to be a place where you're going to really be able to have rest and peace, tranquility, a place for yourself, and also to be very, very creative. This is going to be a good place.
Thank you. That's my hope.
Yes, it will be. It will be. Just don't let it get to you. The whole time the building's going on, say, Sandy said, this is all going to flow. It's going to be what I want. Never mind all the aggravation. Just let it go.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's funny. That's actually the mindset that I keep trying to tell myself and manifesting myself into, that it's like, yes, it's okay. It's not going to necessarily be easy, but it will all be okay.
Yep.
So thank you
And
very much.
Good luck to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And Lisa, who is next?
All right, lucky number 3 tonight is going to be Veronica. Veronica, can you unmute?
I am here. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Loud and clear, Veronica.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And Sandy, thank you so much for just providing us with sharing your gifts with us for so many years. I had a face-to-face reading with you 15 years ago down in Port Charlotte. So here I am on your call, and I'm very excited to be here. So I'm from Florida also. I'm a Scorpio, Taurus rising, Moon in Pisces, and I'm so grateful for my family and health and all the wonderful gifts that have been bestowed upon us. And so basically my question revolves around decision making and finances at this point. I've gone through some changes in family dynamics lately, and right now I'm kind of like at a crossroads as far as my work and profession goes. So I kind of feel drawn, I'm torn between my passion and what pays the bills. And so I'm kind of trying to figure out whether I should quit my day job basically and find another job that pays more to help me get through these financial struggles, or kind of stick with what I have and find some time on the side to pursue my passions and make some money as a side gig. And so I'm just kind of like, do I just find something new, or do I stay where I'm at and do this on the side? Or I'm just kind of at a loss trying
Now,
to
refresh me, because you were throwing signs at me there. You are a Pisces. That's what you said, yes?
I'm a Scorpio, Moon in Pisces.
Right. I knew I heard them both and was like, "Ooh, okay." Too many signs at once. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So we're looking, I'm glad you're a Scorpio, because, Pisces is a mutable sign, and we really have worked those mutable signs. You mutable guys really know what's going on. But let's look at the fixed signs, because Scorpio is a fixed sign. So hang on for a minute, and then we'll come back to this dilemma you're talking about. But
Okay.
we're talking about right here. Here's Scorpio in this chart. This is our horary chart, throwaway chart for everybody who's on the call right now. The first 21 degrees of Scorpio are in the first house. So your choice here is all about you, Veronica. It's what's going to be best, what's finally going to make me happy, okay? And there are 30 degrees in a sign, so the last 8 degrees that are on that sign are in the second house, which is about money. So mostly it's about what's going to make you happy, and the rest is about the money. Okay, so that works. Now,
Yeah.
opposing these two houses, up here in the 7th and 8th house, you have a little bit or a whole lot of Jupiter, which is you're wanting to leave the present job, aren't you? So even if you didn't have a hobby that you'd love to turn into a moneymaker, you still would be wanting to leave the present job. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
And a lot of that reason is, and this may just be pertinent to you, Veronica, or it might be to all the other fixed signs on the call too, but you really are looking for a home. You're looking for a place to belong. And I think that in the current job, you know, even though it's about money, it's not really about money. It's about wanting to get up in the morning and be excited about what you're going to be spending the day doing and the people that you belong to, almost like an extended family. And I think you've had jobs in the past where you had that, and you don't have that in this job. So the motivation to leave, first of all, this is important to look at it this way. The motivation to leave is something separate than, do I leave to find a better job, or do I build up my hobby into something which can eventually replace this job? But either way, the motivation is leave this job. Do you see how that works?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So the second part, and this is where it's the smallest part, that's the biggest part of what's going on for you. But the second part is this Uranus. And I've got to tell you that financially, right now, everything is going to be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now, we also can look at the greater world, and we know we can see it going on. Our prices are going up in the supermarket, they're going up at the gas pumps. You know, I don't think it's an enigma to anybody on the call that our economy, our health system, everything in the world has become part of this political football that is got all of us up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down as to what's coming next. So this is, guess what? Depending on what you are wanting to branch into, and you're going to love what I'm going to say, Uranus is the planet of opportunity, and it's in an earth sign, it's in Taurus. Now, the planet Pluto has moved forward into Aquarius. It did that back in January, but on May 2nd, it retrogrades, and by June, it'll be back in Capricorn. So after June, between June and October 10th, it's going back to reform a grand trine in Earth. Now, putting that in English, between May 2nd and October 10th, you have opportunities coming that you have to take a chance. You have to trust your guidance system, because it's not going to look like it's going to make money, but you'll have opportunities where you can position yourself either with a different company, better job, better working situation, or in your personal hobby, finding a way to be able to make more money with it so that you can actually implement it where it becomes a bigger part of your income. And perhaps you could just cut the hours down at your day job, which is just a place to go and pay bills. Am I making sense to you?
Absolutely, 100%.
Now, those opportunities don't exist right now, because right now Pluto's moved forward into Aquarius, and that grand trine you need for those opportunities isn't there. So opportunities are coming along. You can definitely see them, but they're not great. They don't feel really good to you, you see? After May 2nd, some really, really good ones are going to come along, and you've got to trust your intuition to know, is that the right one to jump on? That's the scary part, okay?
So right now I've been doing a lot of research and kind of prep work for it. So is that wise to continue on this track, or am I wasting my time?
Oh,
You
it's
know,
wise. And this is why my guides actually said, you know, you're in the place a lot of people would love to be in. You see, you have a job paying the bills. You have an opportunity, because you're skilled, to move into another job that would pay you more money for what you're doing. You have to do a little legwork, a little looking, but yes, you can find it. You also have an opportunity to develop this new business that could very well turn into a new career. I mean, I hate to say it, but is there a bad choice there? Even if you just stay doing the same old dumb day job, is there a bad choice?
no, there really isn't. You're right.
So this really isn't, you know, wow, my life is really, really crappy right now. My life is pretty darn good. I just want to make it better. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Sandy.
You're very welcome, and good luck to you. And I know as long as you trust your own intuition And remember what I said before about looking at the probabilities. If I do this, what's the potential? If I do this, what's the potential? If I do this, what's the potential? Do that. And you can either do that with cards, you can do that with a psychic reading on your own. I know you do a little work with that. Or you can just do it by following how your emotions lead you. Because if you're paying attention to how you feel, my friends, if you're about to take a step down a path that's not going to be good for you, oh my, you feel an incredible resistance. You start to feel like crap. You don't want to get out of bed in the morning. You get angry and irritable. So don't do it. Change your mind. Okay. Do the thing that makes you feel, oh yeah. Okay. And that's how you get to use your emotional reactions as a guidance system that leads you to a better life situation. Okay. Hey, thank you for all your great questions. It was cool, and I think it helped a lot of people who are here. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome. Now, Lisa, I think we are fast approaching maybe our last or our second to last caller. So who's next?
All righty, the next lucky person is going to be Erica. Erica, can you unmute?
Hello, Sandy.
Hey there, Erica.
Hi. Okay, so I live in San Antonio. I'm a Gemini. I think Virgo rising because you told me. I am very thankful for how far I've come this year because it's been a massive journey. I'm not comfortable, but I'm making it. The last time I talked, Mike, oh, do I tell you a question or is there anything more I need to say?
Well, that's okay. You can go to your question.
Oh, the last time I talked to you, you had mentioned that I should go and get my PhD, and I've applied and everything. I just feel kind of like I don't know if that's the right thing, but then there's days that I say yes, and there's days that I don't because I'm like, oh, I really wish maybe I could do something else. Yeah, that and um,
I
yeah,
think that emotional guidance system I was talking about, I think your emotional guidance system is getting screwed up. Okay. And here's how. And I think you're right, and yet you're being right is confusing you. My guides do see you getting a doctoral degree. Okay. They see you getting it in who knows what, but you're going to get it. They say that the reason for your confusion is because your intuition says, I'm going to get it and I'm not going to use this thing. And they're right. And that's what's screwing you up. Because in order to get that doctorate, you got to get the doctorate in something you know you're not going to use. Okay. The thing is, the doctorate is going to open the doors so that you can get into the field you want to be in and make a whole lot of money and have a great future because you have the piece of paper.
okay,
Oh, isn't that terrible? But that's really the way our educational system works. Okay. I want to remind you folks, this is a good time to do it. And remember, all immutable signs are going through these same dilemmas. Remember, I kept saying right from the beginning, you're going through dilemmas that concern choices, not necessarily life or death choices, but choices between a lot of different things. Do you have to get a doctorate? No. But if you want, believe it or not, the shortest route to get where you want to go, it is getting the doctorate, but the doctorate's you're not going to go in that direction. You're still going to go off in another direction. And I would use myself as an example. I was initially trained to be a school teacher. Yeah, me. Okay. Like elementary through high school, PE and health. Along the way, I figured, okay, pre-med, because it was fun. Thought of going into physical therapy. There was a freeze on it. I couldn't get in. Okay, no physical therapy. Went out to teach the kids. They scared me. Oh my God, I was so afraid of those little kids. So I stopped being a teacher. Okay. I went for an interview with an insurance company to be a claims adjuster because a friend of mine said, oh, claims adjusters get jobs all over. You don't even need to have a brain to be a claims adjuster. I don't want to insult anybody. That's not true. But when I went and they looked at my resume and they saw all the science classes, at that point I could be certified to teach 3 or 4 different subjects, okay? They said, oh, you should be a safety engineer. So lo and behold, I became a safety engineer for 16 years, and I was damned good at it. And then after 16 years, I graduated to being a psychic. Oh my, who would have thought that I went to school and got all those certifications to be a psychic? But you see behind me on the wall back there, all those certificates? You see them?
Yes.
Doesn't really matter so much right now. But when I was first beginning my work as a psychic, I can't tell you how many people came back and got readings with me because they knew that I knew what I was doing because I had a diploma from a college on the wall.
That's
Okay. And I know this sounds really strange, folks, but it's the way people's minds work. So
right.
along the way, I want to ask, will you actually learn something along the way that would be beneficial to you personally if you go for that doctorate? Is it going to be worth your while? You're not going to like this. My guides say not really. And it's going to be easier than you think. I have to tell you that. Because frankly, your life experience has already given you most of the knowledge you're going to need to go through the doctoral plan and be able to get through it and do well with it. So I wouldn't worry about your capability. I think it's there. The big thing is that you're looking at the doctoral degree as, I don't really want to do that. That's where it's going to lead. And the answer is that what you really want to do that you're still nebulous about, it hasn't completely formed, is going to manifest while you're getting that degree. And
Okay.
having that degree is going to open all the doors to you to be able to step through and be able to do what you really, really went into the educational system to be to begin with.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you're going to have to fight yourself on this one because your intuition is telling you, right, this isn't going to give me what I want. True. Do I need it? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And folks, I really hope that helped a lot of you who are in similar dilemmas, because that's the kind of thing that's going on for people right now. One more caller. Lisa, I have time for one more.
Okay. That lucky caller is going to be Marcia. I heard her saying, me, pick me. Marcia, can you unmute?
Hello there, Marcia.
Marcia, you have to unmute on your end.
Is she here?
Well, I guess maybe she wasn't the lucky caller after all.
Might have thought that we were done when I said I'm up to my last. Boy, if she listens to this recording, she's going to be kicking herself. Okay, but I can give Marcia a quickie little reading. She's looking out for her future. She's making some decisions. That's the Page of Pentacles that are very, very important and have a lot to do with money and material things and where she's physically going to be. She's following her inner guidance. She is going to have support and partnership. That's this last card, which is a Three of Wands. And yes, I think you're going to move, Marcia. Okay, next caller.
All righty, we happen to have one hand left up. That was hard to say. Gulina, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Gulina, can you unmute yourself? Or Julina?
Hi, Sandy.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. I think I'm grateful for just that I woke up today, this morning. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
could just see the beauty of the nature. By the way, I'm in Sacramento, California.
Uh-huh.
So I have a very quick question. Something I don't think you were expecting, or maybe your guides may be expecting. So I tell you what happened. My mom had a doctor's appointment on Friday, and we have a hospital here called UC Davis. So it was early morning, 8:40 a.m. I was all good. Okay, when I say I was all good means I was happy, I was excited. I'm taking my mom to the doctors because finally we got to see the doctor. But boy, oh boy, by the time her appointment got over, we got in the car. Sandy, I don't know what happened to me. My chest was hurting like anything. My abdomen was hurting like crazy. And the drive from the hospital to my house is almost, I would say, 45 to 50 minutes. I became literally out of breath. So I
Mm.
came home, started saying my prayers, had some water, like a warm water, and I tried to sleep because I've taken off from work. And yesterday was another episode. Like, I don't know what was happening. My head was spinning. And I know it was not something nutrition or something else is happening. So I was like, okay, Lord, show me the way. And they're like, okay, Sandy is going to give you the answer. So yeah.
And you know,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna break some of my rules here because I try to stay out of things that are political footballs, but here's one where I really have to say something.
Mhm.
Folks, if you have a long-term condition from the pandemic, I don't want to go into details about it because I want this to be able to post on YouTube. Um, there are two things you can be taking that are going to minimize those symptoms. Whether you have been vaccinated, whether you have had boosters, doesn't matter. It's still going to help. One is ivermectin. And if you can't buy it in your local store or your doctor won't get a prescription, you can get it online, okay? And the other is hydrochloroquine. And if you add zinc and vitamin D and C to that hydrochloroquine, and it'll actually wipe it out, okay? So there are actual cures. There have been cures out there from the very beginning. It sounds to me like what happened is, and this happens to me right here in Florida, when I belong to a yoga class that's very large. I go on Saturday mornings. I love yoga. And almost inevitably, because this is high peak season in Florida where we get lots and lots of tourists and a lot of people from up north coming down, and almost inevitably, I go to yoga, have a wonderful class, I come home and I'm short of breath, and when I bend down, I'm dizzy. So I go and I take my ivermectin and my zinc and my D, and by the end of the day, I'm fine. You know, it's nice to know that there are at least solutions to that problem. I do think it's real. It's not in your mind. And there are, you know, as long as there are people who are able to continue to spread things in the air. And down here in Florida, I don't know if this is happening in California. I really don't, because I'm not
Mhm.
physically there. But I can tell for a fact that in Florida, they're spraying the darn stuff in the air, because I can go out some afternoons and I can actually remember I was an industrial hygienist. I was a safety engineer. I can actually feel the chemicals on my skin. I know what they are, and I can feel the reaction instantly when I'm breathing something. I even know what it is because you know, I know the symptom and I can connect it to it. So we've got our hands full with stuff that's going on that we aren't supposed to have to deal with in our world right now. But let's just say that it wasn't something that was nefarious. It was just people in the doctor's office or in the hospital that were unconsciously, unwittingly spreading stuff that they have no ability to not spread. Right now, you can be perfectly healthy and
Mhm.
still be a spreader of all of those different, you know, contaminants that came into our world. So isn't it nice to know that we do have some cures, and they are absolute cures, folks. Even if you've got the long-term version of it, please look into it and study it yourself. Just don't take my word for it. Go online and study and study and study. And it's not your imagination, but please take care of yourself. You're going to be fine. My guides are saying you're going to be fine. But you do have to deal with it if you don't want to feel like an old lady all the time. Okay?
Yes. So thank you, Sandy. This definitely makes a lot of sense because yesterday I kept on sleeping the whole day. Woke up, I could barely go downstairs because I have a two-story house. I could barely go downstairs. And my parents were like, "You were all fine. What happened to you?" And they
Mhm.
don't understand, what exactly this is because. So yeah,
Airborne
it,
contaminants. And
yep.
then they say, okay, put a mask on, everybody mask up. And you know, unfortunately, and again, my industrial hygiene background, the particles from those contaminants can zip right through the mask. The mask can't stop them. All the
Mhm.
mask does is have you breathing your own, you know, unfortunately, your own germs and getting sick from wearing a mask. So it's not really helping to have a mask on. So what do? You make sure that you've added those things into your household medicine cabinet.
Mhm.
And folks, right now and for the foreseeable future, I'm preaching this to everybody I know, take zinc and vitamin D because that'll beef up your immune system. If you actually do get, and take that every day, just take it. And if you actually do get sick, take vitamin C and either ivermectin or hydrochloroquine. And there are a few other things that they're pushing that you can read about, and I'm not going to tout them because I don't know if they will work. I do know that ivermectin and hydrochloroquine work because I have direct experience with them. Okay.
Right. And I'll do one thing tonight. It's a bit late, but tomorrow morning I'll go to CVS, get it, because now Thursday I have to take my mom again to UC Davis. So I'll
Yeah.
probably have 3 days of,
Yeah, I don't know if you're, and I don't know if in California you're going to be able to walk into CVS or Walgreens and get ivermectin or hydrochloroquine. I honestly think you're going to have to get them from a source online, but I do know that they will come fast. So find where to get them. I don't have a website offhand to give you, but I know they're available, and you'll probably have them within the next 3 or 4 days. There are a lot of agencies out there that want to help us, that
Mhm.
want us to be healthy, that want us to all get better, but you have to be willing to reach out and get that help. So, hey, good luck to you and feel better. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sandy. As always, it's been amazing, amazing journey just seeing you. And I've seen the improvements in my health and emotional health as well. So thank you.
Awesome. I'm grateful. Thank you. That made my night. Thank you so much. And folks, everyone who has stayed with me until the end, I want to remind you that if you didn't get to ask your question, a simple, direct question, I need your name, where you're calling from or contacting me from, what you're most grateful for, and then your simple, direct question. And it needs to reach me by 9 p.m. tomorrow evening Eastern time, and I'll be glad to get back to you with your answer sometime, usually over the next 2 weeks. Okay. Thank you all so much. I love you all dearly. I love connecting with you like this each month. I wish you all well and have a very, very happy, happy Easter and a great spring. Bye-bye, everyone.